All right. Welcome to part 2 of part 3 of our ragdoll assemblage. Hopefully this is going through. Let's see if the chat is working. And get live chat to see if you guys are there. I see I've got one person watching, one thumbs up. There's Linda. All right, Mary. Okay, everybody, can you hear me okay? Just want to make sure I'm heard. And I'm going to keep sewing on this leg. Maybe, if I can find the needle. Okay, thank you, Mary. Hopefully everybody else will get over here. Yes, loud and clear. Thank you. All right. Let's see, I went through the body that time. I'm going to go through the leg this time. I don't know what is going on with the internet. It's just flat crazy. I know I'm having some. It's a very overcast day, and we've had some rain, but it shouldn't affect my buried cable at all. But I don't know. Who knows? The internet's been acting weird for a lot of people so far this week. Yes, we're back. We're back. And I hope Ann gets in here because she was having trouble putting her head on. And I wanted to give some tips on that. Basically, I wanted to have her all put together, and I wanted to kind of show you guys how to draw up some clothing patterns for your individual dolls, because you're going to have to measure. Hi, Shannon. You guys are going to have to measure your own dolls and figure out how to do, what you want to do. I'm almost around here. The fun part's coming up. We got to put her head on. And I have already put an eye on my head. I might go ahead and put her other eye on before I sew her to the body, because I have a pin marking where her other eye needs to go. Because if you remember, when we drew our patterns, we actually had put the eye placement line on the pattern. Do you remember doing that? It's the halfway point down your face. I guess I'm making this doll for myself. I don't have any little girl to give it to. She'll just be a doll that hangs out in here with the owls, I guess. And I'm actually planning another doll, and I've redrawn her body a little bit. Now remember, if you get all the way around and you have a little bit of excess fabric, just go ahead and stitch it down to her leg. Don't you wish we could just stitch away the excess? There we go. Pull that down there. All right, I'm going to go ahead and knot this off. If you're not happy with the stitching, you can just go around again. We'll hide the tail in her leg. All right. All right, so here's my dolly. I want to make sure she's facing the right way. I'm going to go ahead and put her head on and put her other eyeball on. This is what I'm doing for her eye. It's a white button with a blue button on top. And I'm just going to take this pin out because that's where her other eye will go. And I've got that sitting here. But your head, if you're looking at the head, we left a little flaps here to attach her head to her neck stump here. What you want to do is you want to make sure this is firm, but not hard as a rock. And you want to do that all the way to where you want her little head to end, okay? And then these flaps, because we put the seam around, right? She has these two little flaps that automatically fold right here and here. What you're going to do is at the very bottom of that, you're just going to fold that part up so it'll look like that. But what we're going to do is we're going to insert this over the neck stump and just push that up in until her head hits the batting. That's why I say you need to have her head stuffed pretty firm, okay? So then once you get her head up in there and you fold this little flap up in, kind of get it as square as you want it, then you can take a pin and pin down into her body and come back out on the front like that. And then you can do the same thing here on the back. And you want to make sure this is taut. Okay? You don't want any looseness in here. And then we're going to stitch her head on just all the way around up into that crease, back down, and you're going to go into the neck, into the body, into the neck, into the body, all the way around. And that's why I said if you wanted to, you could stitch some pearls on after you get her head stitched on, and it would look like a necklace. But that's entirely up to you guys. I'm going to use this thread I've got on here. I'll have to stop and rethread. She's 20. Let's measure her because I don't know if she's 20 inches or not now. Let's put her feet at 1. She's actually coming out to less than 20 inches. My doll is 18 inches tall. Oh, I wonder if she could wear American Girl doll clothes. She might be too big in her body. All right, so I'm going to start up in here so I can hide this knot inside her neck. So I'm just going under the flap there. Okay, and then that way the knot is in there. And then I'll just take a little teeny stitch into her body. And then a little stitch into the neck fabric. That'll work. Just do the best that you can. And it's not a race. I think I'm just going to do like a whip stitch where you go through the body and come out through the neck and just put them close together. Because I think that would be easier to stitch. So I'm coming and I'm going in and out the body and then up out the neck. And see, if we do these dolls at Halloween, then we could turn them into creepy dolls and make the stitches with like black thread or, red thread, whatever you want to do. But we could do a smaller doll at the different holidays. Might have to look for a doll high chair or a doll rocking chair or something when we go thrifting. And then I could just have the dolls sitting on the fireplace and just switch the dolls out for the different holidays. Shannon, are you going to be on at 3? Shannon comes on at 3 o'clock. Hi, Eva. So good to see you. We're just making a little rag dolly. And I did redo the body shape, so I have different bodies. And I'm going to make another doll, I think, with a slimmer body. All right, I'm going to have to, give me just a sec. I'm going to move this a little bit. And I hope I don't lose you guys again. That was crazy. I'll have to add this to the playlist because I didn't take the time to do that, I don't think. Maybe I did. I don't know. But we had internet issues, so that's why I've started a part 2 of the part 3. Sorry for anybody that's watching the replay if that's confusing. You just have to go to my channel and look for the Ragdoll playlist, and you'll have all the videos start to wherever we are. Eventually, it'll be start to finish, but, you know. But, come on, little stitches. I might have to stand up. Yeah, Art Junkie Shannon, she's been doing Crochet Fridays and Tea Tuesdays. So if you've missed her videos on those, you might want to go watch. I think you did cards, though, last Friday instead of crochet. Or did you do both? I hate to say this, but I think I fell asleep in the recliner. I need to not watch videos in the recliner because I fall asleep there all the time. And this is why I wanted to leave a nice long kind of neck flap so that I could sew her head on and have it attached really well with the neck up inside the head. I get quiet because I don't want to stab myself. So you're just doing crochet, Eva? Scott brought me a huge bag of yarn that he picked up at the thrift store down near where he works. And then he said, "Do you want to go thrifting?" So we went thrifting last night. That's why I did a impromptu last night. And I'm going to send my mom a piece of the paper doll fabric because she wants to do some Project Dress a Girl. I need to trace her the heart-shaped pocket pattern. I don't know if she'll actually do it or not, but she showed an interest. So I said, well, that would be a way for me to get that fabric used up. The only thing I think is going to be an issue is that fabric is really thin. But it's from like 1994, something like that. So it's older fabric. But I think if we line it, it'll be fine. Again, just make sure you're not leaving a loop behind. It's so hard to figure out where to stick my hands to hold her to get her to get stitched up well. Let's see if I can. Yep, going into the body and then coming out a bit on the neck flap. And I'm thinking just a little, I'm going to put her other eyeball on. And I might do some embroidery and give her some eyelashes, maybe an eyebrow with some black. And then maybe just a little some kind of stitching for the bottom of her nose, and then just a smile. So that's going on pretty smoothly. I feel like I'm having to wrestle her to get her to behave. Oh man, come on. Little stitch. There we go. This is hard to do while y'all are watching. Might have to come out of her bodies in a different location and then back up through the next flap. Come on. Here we go. That's what we need to do. Try not to stab myself with this other needle either. The pin that's at the back. Oh. I'll call her back. Publishers Clearinghouse time. All right, I need to tie a knot. I don't know if I've left enough thread. Yeah, I'm going to have to just try to catch that. Down there. All right. Okay. You've made a baby blanket? I separated the baby yarn from the 4-ply last night that Scott had picked up. And then I put all of that embroidery yarn or whatever it is in its own bag. Squirrels are chasing each other out there. All right. Gonna run it through my grandma's wax. All right. And Shannon was wanting to know if you recorded that. Hi, Janice. The baby blanket. Did you record it? I don't think Eva does videos, do you? I think she's just a wonderful supporter that loves to watch everybody. Oh, Janet had to go. Enjoy your dinner. All right, I'm going to hide this knot up in her neck again. This was pretty thin muslin. She might not make a very good play doll, but should be all right for what I'm going to use her for, just to be around. Okay. I'm just trying to stitch her opening there a little tighter so it doesn't come undone. There we go. And it's stitched to the neck. So maybe her head won't flippity flop all over the place. But I was thinking if I show you how to do a basic pattern, if we do just a basic like little dress, you can take the dress pattern and turn it into a shirt pattern just by making it shorter. Just don't make it as long. And then I was just going to do some little bloomers for my rag dolly. And then the embroidery I'm going to do, anything that's considered decorative. I don't know if you guys need a lesson in sewing the hair on. You need to let me know that. We could start sewing some hair on our dolls. Or if you want to just be, now that you've got your doll together, if you just want to be as creative as you want to be, I'll leave that entirely up to you. And Shannon said, yes, please do the hair. Okay. Well, I'll start some hair. When you're sewing the hair on, you basically don't want to really sew past, the seam here, because if you feel on your head, you don't have, well, some people might, but you don't necessarily have hair that you'd pull back in a ponytail in front of your ears. So, but everybody's going to choose whatever they want to do for their hair. And I'm using the offcuts from my serger. So my doll's going to have some freaky, colorful hair. So we'll do some hair sewing after I put her eye on. And then as far as adding her eyelashes and eyebrows, that kind of stuff, I'm just going to do that with DMC floss and like a running stitch, or I don't know what would make really good eyelashes, which stitch that would be. All right, I got to stand back up. Howard, honey, I can't constantly hold you. I'm sorry. All right, let me put this pin in here. Oh dear, having trouble. Howard, you've already added enough of yourself to this doll. I should have took the microfiber to this area of my desk, because this is where Howard lays to get morning snuggles. He likes to try to steal my coffee. I know coffee's not good for cats, but tell him that. He's the one that's the thief. He's such a wise guy. And I've got black thread to sew the button eyes on, because I thought that would give her a pupil if I used black thread inside the white and blue buttons. I thought my sisters would be shooting me an email wanting to do something this week, but so far nothing. I'm pretty open and free with my schedule, and I know Robin is throwing pottery like a madwoman for the rent. I can't remember what it is. It's up in Pennsylvania. It's not a Ren fair. It's part of the SCA event. She goes to that every year and sells her pottery there. And she's trying to get as much made as she can possibly carry. And then somebody else is They're midweek swapping out some people because Robin can't miss as much school. So I think her daughter is watching the setup for the first week of it. Why can't I think of what that's called? She finally went up on her prices some. She said she didn't really want to because she felt like she wouldn't sell. And she sold everything she had made. I still can't believe she just gave me that vase that was sitting on the floor in her studio. I have it on the table over there. Am I back? I just lost connection again. I don't know what to tell you guys about the connection issue. Oh, we did update my laptop to a new version of Mint, I think, or Ubuntu. And I've been getting all the updates to keep it stable. So I don't know what the problem is. It's like I can't do more than an hour at a time. And it's been an hour. Of course, I didn't even get to do, what, 20 minutes and it started messing up. I'm going to try to do all of that today, Brenda. All right. I'm going to go in and out. And then I'll catch her neck flap this way because I can't bend the pin enough to do what I need it to do. Thank goodness for that wax. Okay. All right. Okay, I'm going to take a couple stitches to hold this flap together right here. Maybe, if I can get the needle to go where I want it to. I can't believe it's Wednesday already. Having Scott home Monday's got me all squirrely in the brain. One, two, three. And that ties a knot. Push it down to the bottom. Then I'm going to hide the needle. Come out or then go back in a different place. Come out the back. Okay. All right, you guys haven't lost me. It's just me showing I'm out. All right, so now I'm going to put her other eyeball on. And I need about that space in there. So her other eye needs to go about right there. So got some black thread here and I've got my needle all threaded. Oh, let me go turn the air down because I'm sweating. Woo. 73. All right. Just to get my spacing, put this one there, and then I want her other eye here. So I need to go in about right there, go in and out. All right. Go through the back of the white one, the back of the blue one, pull it up, and go back through the blue, through the white, and then it's threaded on the thread. And then you go through her, where her eyeball is here. And then when you pull this, it stacks them up there. And then you just tilt this and go back through those two holes on, not that side, the other side. Oh, for crying out loud. I want to be on this side. And this one. It'll get more stable the more stitches you put in it. And then go through the button to the back, but not through the fabric. This needle's awful small. So I don't want to go in the fabric. I just want to get through the button. And now I'll go through the fabric behind the buttons and out the other side. I'm just going through fabric there. And back through on this side of the buttonhole. And back out this side of the buttonholes. But not through the fabric. Needed a longer needle, I think. I think that would have been easier. And then through the fabric, in and out. And then back through this eye hole. And then out this other side. Okay. Now, if you were giving this to a really small child, I would not put button eyes on it. I would just embroider eyes. But she's my rag doll, so she's getting button eyes. Oops, not through the fabric. That should hold her eyeball on. All right, so I'm going to go through the fabric at the back here. If I do this toward the outside of her eyeball, I can tie a knot. 1, 2, 3. And pull this, and the knot will be under the eyeball. And then I'll go in and out to this side, and then back under the eye, in and out. So the thread tail is hidden behind the eyeball, so you don't see the thread through the fabric. All right, so there's my dolly. Woo! And I'm going to give her some eyebrows. She's not the most perfect shaped thing in the world, but I will put just a little smiley face and maybe just a little dimple nose, just a couple embroidery stitches for the nose. I don't know what she'll look like. And Howard's in my chair. So this is what I was thinking for her hair. Howard, honey, I'm going to have to move you because I have to sit down. Come here. Oh, don't fuss. Let go. Here, get in there. Watch the squirrels. You think she looks okay? All right. I'm not going to sew a bunch of hair, but if you think about where your hair ends, it'll be just toward the bottom here. And I'm just going to sew rows of hair up. So I'm going to use the cream thread because this fabric is all different colors. And I'm just going to sew stuff on because I can give her a haircut. Yes, I'm going to try to do that. I'm only going to do like one row of hair, and then we're going to draw some clothing patterns. I'm going to be on a little bit longer today because we've been on an hour now. So if you needed to, what you can do is take a pencil and draw her hairline. If I can find a pencil. This is just a regular pencil. So like if I want her hair, so like do a row of hair there and then come up a ways and do the next row of hair. Then maybe the next row of hair. You want about 1/4 inch, I think, between each row of hair. And I think if you start at the bottom and work your way up, I'm just kind of sketching in these lines. Now, if you don't want your doll to have long, wild hair like mine's going to have, you could just do hair this way and do just short hair. All of that's up to you, how you want to put your hair in. I'm just showing you how I'm putting my hair on my doll. This is my plan. One more here. And now up on this part, I might just do some long stitches just to fill this in, and then maybe give her bangs hanging off from this below it. I don't know. I haven't decided that yet. But I'll get you started on sewing rows of hair. I like this fleece. I might cut this in half. What did Brenda say? Yeah, the Amish don't put faces on their dolls. Faces denote it has a soul, and dolls don't have souls. At least that's what I learned it meant. All right, so I just put a knot up under here inside the loop, and then I'm just going to stitch it down here. Getting through that fleece is something else. I might regret the choice to use the fleece, but man, it looks cute. So I'm just going to stitch them on like that. See, that's my doll's hair. It's going to be like that. And maybe we'll put a piece of this orange on. Let's layer them so they are folded on each other. And I think I'll go through them. And I'm thinking it doesn't have to be, you know, a whole bunch of hair, because you're going to have all this other hair laying over top of it, right? I used to get a magazine called Women's Circle, and it had a pattern for a little Amish doll, bonnet, dress, bloomers, and all. but I don't know if I still have it or not. Let's give her a piece of blue hair here. Hi, Joyce. I might take another stitch into that. So you can see this is going to take some time. But you kind of get the gist of it, don't you? What I'm planning to do here for her hair. I was talking with the nicest lady on the phone right before I came in because she called and said, someone called from this number? And I was like, I'm sorry. I think somebody spoofed my number. So I wish they could put an end to that. She said, me too. And we just chit-chatted about how we were wishing they could get a handle on that. I said, I hate to say it, but it's just getting worse and worse. I said, my son works nights and his phone goes off and he needs to sleep during the day. I mean, he works all night long. He works 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. and to have someone call and wake him up, it's rough. So I'm just going to keep folding, just taking various strips, folding it in half, and just take a little stitch in it. And then into her head a couple times here. That sounds horrible, doesn't it? I'm going to stitch her hair to her head. The ladies that have their hair sewn in, y'all have patience of I don't know what to sit there and have that done. All those hours. Oh, patience. I don't think I could sit still that long. If I can't wash it and just slap a hat on if it looks rough and go, it's not for me. All right, so that's the gist of the hair. I don't want to put too much more hair on because I've got to be able to make measurements. So that's something to keep in mind. But this is how I'm sewing my hair on. And I'm just going to go all the way up her head, and she's going to have some pretty hair. See? And I'll just keep going. And I can always, give her a haircut when it's done. I could leave it like it's dreadlocks. Greg's best friend has the most beautiful dreadlocks. He takes such good care because his mama's awesome and taught him well. So that's what I'm going to do for the hair. Does that help? Hi, Roy. Is that enough information to get you guys started with your hair? But feel free to do whatever you want for the hair. I just drew the rows, and I'm just going to sew just simple strands all the way up through. And because it's so bulky, she's going to have a thick mane by the time I'm done if I do all of these rows. So I'm going to leave that pin in her head. I'm going to move her hair back to the bag. Sorry, got to put your hair back in a bag. But I saw all of this coming off the serger, and I was like, that would make the coolest hair on my doll. So now you need a measuring tape and a piece of paper. And now this is going to be just a simple, you could say frock or smock or whatever you want to call it. That's what I'm going to do. So I've got a couple pieces of paper here. So the first thing I want you to measure is how far is it across your shoulders of your doll. So go from the outside part of her shoulder, from like right there to there. Mine's 6 inches. So half of 6 is 3. Okay. So that would be half the width. Okay. I'm going to make a little measure from the edge of your measure from the edge of your paper. We're going to make half of a pattern piece. And you'll put it on a fold. Okay. So that's 3 inches. Okay. The next measurement you're going to need, I've got 2 pieces of paper here. That's going to be confusing. Let me move one. I want you to measure from the shoulder into where your neck is. Okay. And for me, that's about 2 1/4 inches, maybe 2 1/8. So I'm going to make a mark at 2 1/8 from the shoulder over here. So make a mark there. All right. Then I want you to mark, take from her shoulder down. I'm going to do mine at like 1 1/4, but you need to come down for her neck. So maybe 1 1/4 would be fine. So I'm going to measure down and make 1 1/4 here. And then what you do is you're just going to make an arch for your neckline. So just like that. Okay. So this will be cut away because that's the neck hole. Okay. And this is going to be the front of the doll. So this across was 3 inches. I'm going to do the same thing over here for the back. 3 inches. And then I measured 2 1/8 back from that edge. But I don't want to go down as far in the back. I'm only going to come down an inch here. Tippy stop. If you want a bigger neck opening, you can just come over farther this way, give her maybe a boat neckline. You just want the distance from the neck to the end over here to be the same so that when you line your shoulders up, they're the same width. Okay. And this will be our back piece. Now, how long do you want your dress? Mine's going to wear a dress. So I'm going to go from the shoulder, right, the seam of her shoulder, go from that to however long you want it. I think my dress is going to be 10 inches long, and then I'm going to put a ruffle on it. So if you want it to be a shirt, I would say I'm going to make a mark at 6 inches. So if I do like this and I make a mark at 6 inches at the shoulder seam and toward the center here. Tippy, stop tearing my stuff up. Go eat. You don't need me to stand by you. That'll be for the shirt length for my doll. And then I want to add another 4 inches for it to be a dress. Okay. 4 inches. And I'm going to make it wider. All right. Any questions? All right. Now I want to know, how big is my doll's chest area? Because you want it to be able to go around there. And so I'm going to go right under her arms. And she's 12 inches around. So half of that is 6. And then half of that is 3. So if I come down the distance from her shoulder, I'm probably going too fast. Y'all have to slow me down. Come down from her shoulder 2 inches to here. That tells you where this wide part needs to be. And then we're going to come over 3 inches at that mark. So it needs to come out to it there. But we've got to make room for her arm. And her arm needs, I would say, 1 3/4 inches. So 1 3/4 inches. And then I want my doll to have a full skirt. So at about the shirt height, it needs to come out. Add an inch to each side. So she's actually 5 inches, but if I add 7 inches, then it's a nice blazoned shirt here. But half of 7 is 3.5. My brain works faster at this, so if I'm going too fast, I'm sorry. I probably am. So 3.5. And I'm going to do 4 at the dress length. And then you can just line those two up. All right. So this is B for a dress. Okay. So we can continue this up to here. And we need an opening here for this, for the t-shirt, unless you want to do like a grown-on sleeve and just have a little sleeve, so you don't have to make a separate sleeve. I might have to do my back on another piece, or I could just use this for both. I'm going to come down 2 inches to there. It needs like this. If you're going to have no sleeves on it. Okay. So it has to kind of arch to take into account her shoulder area right here. And I would suggest using some kind of random fabric that's like not what you want your end result to be in, to test your pattern, because you're drawing your own pattern. All right. I am really leaning toward wanting to just do like a little sleeve to come off here. So if you just kind of sketch on a little sleeve like this, and then maybe come down like this. You can move these lines any way you want to. Okay. And then the sleeve would stop right here. That's where you would stop sewing. So I would say put a dot right there. And then you wouldn't have, ooh, that's awful. You wouldn't have this piece. That just fell apart. You really have to measure your own doll, because it's really going to be so. Tippy, stop. You still need your 1/4 inch seam allowance, and I should have started lower on here, but what you can do is I'm going to just cut a piece off from here. And I'm going to tape it up here. I may have confused the daylights out of you. That's why I like to draw things up on my own before I get on here and struggle through. But I'm trying to give you what you need to make some clothes for your doll this week. So I'm going to put a 1/4 inch seam allowance on here. So you could, well, that's not a 1/4 inch. That's going to drive me crazy. It has to be, I was off by a good bit. Quarter inch, 1/4 inch, 1/4 inch. All right, there's a 1/4 inch. I'm just going a 1/4 inch from the top of the paper here. I don't know how this is going to work until I try it. And I figure it's for a doll, and I'll use some scrap fabric. If you've got true scraps, you could just sew a bunch of them together. Excuse me. Once I get this cut out, we'll see how it looks on my doll and see if I need to kind of make any adjustments. Sirens. There's been a wreck up on the interstate. Actually, you know what? This is a straight line. If I just do a couple guidelines, then I should be able to. This is my cutting line. The actual part that you'll sew is here. Okay, and if I add a 1/4 inch at the bottom for the ruffle to attach by, I'm going to put a ruffle on the bottom of my dress. But if you're doing the shirt, I would add a 1/2 inch to the length, and that way you can fold it up. But if you don't want to do it and you want to leave it raw, all you would have to do is do a stitching line kind of close to the edge, and it'll fray on its own. Thank you. All right, so this is going to be my dress / shirt. I'm going to do this as the front and the back. Front and back, so you'll cut 2 on fold. All right, girl. Let me see if this is going to fit you. I mean, this would probably be long enough that I don't need the ruffle, but I like the idea of putting a ruffle on her. All right. So let's see how I did. This is half of her dress, okay? So that'll go on like so. And remember, this seam allowance will snip and turn in. So if you want a very rustic outfit, and on the very back, you're not going to sew it all the way up. You're going to leave this open, and then at the top, we'll put a little snap or something. You can add more ease if you want it. My doll's got an inch of ease on each side. But if you want more ease than that, feel free to do it. And if you wanted it to be more A-line, you just bring this out. I mean, my doll is basically a rectangle. So all I would have to do is bring this farther out. So I could like put a piece of paper on here and draw the line from under the arm out. Or if I wanted this to come over more, I could add an additional seam allowance again and bring this so it's wider. All of that is all that the ease that Linda's talking about is up to you. How loose you want the clothes to fit is entirely up to you. Now, if you cut something you could do, if you wanted to end up with something that the doll could wear different times, you could make it reversible by, instead of binding the neck edges or folding it in, you could actually cut this 4 times and create a reversible dress. But that's another thing. So I think I'm going to be pretty good here. I think I got enough ease. There's a full inch on each side. So this is the side that would come around and it goes past her side. So I'm thinking I'll be okay. But again, make your first dress or shirt as a try. And if you're doing the shirt, all you got to do, if you want to do and keep it as a shirt or a dress pattern, just fold on the shirt line. And there you would have to tuck this into. Just fold it in like this. That way you don't have to have multiple patterns. And then just pin that down for a shirt. And see, that would come on my doll like this. And I'm only going to, on the part that's going to be the back, I'll do a cut down a ways. So how far down do you think I need a cut for an opening to get this on her? I was thinking down to about here. Oh, I'm looking all over for the tape measure and it's around my neck. Yeah, about 3 inches down. Or what you could do is for the back, instead of cutting it out on the fold, just cut 2. But the thing about that is if you do that, you'll need to add a seam allowance to the back. Do you know what I mean? You'll have to have a seam allowance if you're going to sew up to this point. But this is for the back opening here. We would cut down to this. I'm just going to cut to this right here on the fold, and that'll create your opening at the back. Cut to on back piece only. On back only. So if you wanted to bind your neck with something, you would just leave extra for ties. So leave a piece to tie and then bind your neck around. You could do that. I'm all going in on hoping you guys know a little bit of sewing. And if you get stuck, maybe YouTube could help, or you could hit me up at some point. All right, so now we need the bloomers, and I want mine to be baggy bloomers. So measure her waist. So my bloomers will go at her waist. Her waist is 10 inches. So I was thinking if I do her waist at 12 inches, then I could put elastic in it and bring the elastic down to the 10 inches. Does that make sense? So if I do 12 inches, half of 12 is 6, and half of 6 is 3. So I'm just going to put a mark in here at 3 inches. And this will go on the fold again as well. And I'm just going to draw a line with my ruler. And I'm doing this farther down on the page this time. I don't know if I'm far enough down, but we'll be all right. And then I want them to come out. So this will be the fold here. And then we got to do her crotch area needs to go here like that. So I'm going to measure her around her crotch area. So wherever I decided her waist was going to be, I'm going to put the measuring tape there. And I'm going to come around and be about where the measuring tape is on her back. That comes at about 6 inches. So half of 6 is 3. So you have to come down 3 inches and make a little mark. And then measure her hips. Her hips are at a little over 10. So if I go back and I do a little over 3, I'm going to do 3 1/4 at her hips right here. Just so I have a little bit of a curve. If you have a design curve, you could do this with that. But I'm just going to give her just a slight curve for the crotch area. Like that. Not much of one at all. And then how long do I want her shorts to be is the next question. Let's say 5 inches down here. So if I do 5 inches down to this line, and this is from her waist down. She's going to have some really boxy pants. These are just boxy. If you want them closer fitting, you would have to just make them smaller. Sew your seam allowance. So mine's going to be like a basic block. And then on the top up here, I'm going to add an inch. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this over and insert elastic in it. It'll be just some simple elastic. And then I'll put my 1/4 inch line. I know it looks crazy right now. So this will come up here. Let's see if I can eyeball a 1/4 inch. And if these end up really, 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 really loose, I'll know I need to make some adjustments. And I'll just fold this up a 1/4 inch or more. But this is going to be my pants. And because she's such a square body, she doesn't have any booty. I mean, there doesn't need to be a huge arch here. The arch in a pant usually is like this for like a human being. But this is a doll. So their pants are kind of just a rectangle with a little bit of a curve in it. And if your pants end up to where it's not fitting well in this area, you can just come in and take a little bit more of a seam in it. You can always go smaller. You can't go bigger after you've cut the fabric. So I don't know if everybody's still with me that needed the pattern or if I've not been clear enough. I'm trying. She's going to have some pretty hair. So that's how I'm going to do my outfits. So I'm going to do a dress. And for the ruffle, I'll just do a strip that is 1 1/2, maybe not even that, 1 1/4. So this measures 4 1/4. So 4 1/4 is times 4 is 16 and 17 inches. A 17-inch long piece gathered up attached to the bottom, but I need to add another 1/4 of that. So what's 1/4 of 17? $17 times 1.25 is 21 1/4 inch. 21 1/4 inch by a 1 1/2 inch strip. And we'll hem one side of the 1 1/2 inch strip and put that on here. And she'll have a little ruffle. Okay, so I've got my shorts. I'm hoping I have some 1/4 inch elastic. I don't know how many people have sewn pants, but if you cut these out on the fold, what you'll do is this will get cut on the fold. The first thing you're going to do is sew the straightaway on each leg. So you'll take one piece of fabric, fold it in half, and you'll stitch this area right here to there. Don't include the crotch area. You'll stitch here first, stitch here first. Okay, so right sides together, stitch this area here. This is the part that runs between your legs. And then what you'll do is after you've stitched that, you'll turn one of them right side out, okay? Then you'll fit them right sides together, one inside the other, and you'll stitch this whole crotch curve around. What time do we have? Let me see what I can find for some pants, and we'll see if these pants will fit my doll. Give me just a second. I've got a scrap bin here. Let's see. Do I have anything big enough? Oh, there's one of my clips. Let's see. Oh, that would be pretty, and I have that. here. I think I have some. Here we go. All right, so I don't need all of this. Oh, they're right there. I'm such a dir. All right, so fold your fold your fabric. You need 2 of these cut on the fold. Hoping I have enough of this fabric. I might need that other piece back. All right. I don't know if this is straight on grain or not, but it's doll clothes, so I'm not going to worry about the grain right now. Uh-oh. Didn't do too well there. Come on, get on the fold. I keep saying it's only doll clothes, but then I start getting particular. What the? Anyway. Oops. Let me cut this one out. I don't even know what thread I have in this machine. I have no thread in this machine. That's what I have in it. I have the other machine or the other machine or the other machine. Okay. I don't think I can get another piece out of that, but I have that other piece. Okay, so now you've got this piece we've got cut out. I'm going to put a pin in right here, and we're going to sew from the bottom of the shorts up here. Now, on doll clothes, you may want to go ahead and hem your bottom now. But if you want them to be rough, but you don't want them to keep raveling and raveling, you could go ahead and put just a row of stitches in. So let me think on that, because I might just, I don't know, hand stitch mine up. I don't know. I haven't decided. How did we do that? This way? Or was it this way? This way. All right, I need another one of those. I hope this works. If not, oops. Okay. I could just run these pieces through the serger and serge that edge with some very colorful thread, and it would match her hair. And I'm talking about the bottom of the shorts so that they don't completely unravel. Okay. Don't want to cut this paper with my fancy schmancy scissors. All right. All right, I'm just going to run these through the serger on the bottom of the leg. And then I'll do the between the leg piece, and I'll show you what I mean about putting one leg inside the other to do the shorts. And you could press everything. I don't have the iron up and all. So I'm going to serge this edge. Let's see, I want this here. All right, so this is what I did on the serger. I just serged the bottom. So that's finished. So I don't even have to hem that now if I don't want to. Now you're going to put your legs together again, like this. And you're going to stitch just this short little section right here. And I've got to quickly put some thread back in my sewing machine. And you're going to do that on here as well. The waistline is going to be fiddly. Let me thread this up. Fancy schmancy. Oh. I found the catnip ball, the catnip ball. All right, sewing machine, don't you give me a headache today. I have to do this off camera. I'm not set up to move it back and forth, so I'm sorry about that. Let's see, press her foot up. And then thread you here, here, here. I do like having a needle threader to feel this through here. Oh, it didn't do it. Okay, try again. Sorry guys, I'm having trouble. I was told one time somebody didn't want to know my troubles when I was having issues with the sewing machine. And I was like, so like when you sew, everything's perfect every single time. That's nice for you. All right, we are stitching. All right, let me sew these two real quick. Lift this up a bit. And I'm going to do the 1/4 inch seam. And I'm going to lock the stitch in at start and finish. I thought it was interesting. Barb Owen said she doesn't like the thread cutter on her side of her sewing machine, and I use mine all the time. Okay, so this is my leader ender that I use so I don't waste a ton of thread, which I said that, and then there's like a ton of thread hanging off the piece, but it's all right. All right, now I can cut the serger threads because I've sewed across them so they won't come unraveled now. So I can cut those. We'll snip this. We'll snip that. And I did a couple reverse stitches there and down on the bottom just to lock all my threads in place. Because if you don't, it'll come undone. All right, so now leave one just as it is. All right, so turn your other one right side out, like so. All right, then take this one and stick it in side and match your crotch seams inside. So you've got one leg inside of the other. All right. Might want to press these open. I'm just going to finger press them like that. I'll reach inside here and push those flat in there, that seam. Right here, we need to open this up flat. Maybe. I should have probably done it before I turned it in there. Just so you don't have a big blob in the middle. I'm going to have to pull it out just to get it to behave. Let's do that real quick. If I had an iron going, I could iron these, but I'll finger press it really well. There and here. All right, now we'll turn this one back right side out. Slide it inside and match these two seams up. This is fiddly. All right, be patient with yourself. Trying to get my seams to line up. All right, so there's a seam and there's a seam. So we'll line those two up. Okay. And the edges of the fabric need to line up. So once you get your seams together right here, stick a pin in it to get them, just to hold them so they don't keep moving on you. Then take the unsewn edges in the crotch area and match them up. So match this here. Remember what I told you about putting the pins in the opposite direction of your sewing so you can pull them out as you go, and just match up all the crotch area fabrics. Come on, get it down in there. Match up the tops. Go ahead and put a pin in. Don't worry about that center pin we put in first because we're going to shift it around once we get these edges matched up. But you want to match all this up. All right. I've got something pinned. I'm going to go ahead and unpin this real quick. It might even be, yeah, that's what we need to do. Match them up and then put your pin in down here to hold the legs together. You're not going to sew down here. You just want those whole sewn together. Then what you want to do is you want to sew all the way around that curve. And when you get here, stop with your needle down in the fabric so you can turn smoothly and just kind of peek and make sure all those seams are still laying flat in there. So like this is flat here and the one on the inside is flat as well. And then just sew up this other side. And then the magic happens. Yeah, I know. Mary would be basting. I don't never have time for basting. But if you want to take the time to baste, you have at it. It's all good. And I think I got them in the wrong way. I don't know. Let me see. I am going to sew this nice and slow. Oh, you demon. Why are you doing me like this? All right, I want to make sure I'm stopping in the right point here. That'll work. All right. Just take your time to fiddle with the fabric to get it smooth. You have to fiddle with it to get it because it's small. Mary said, you wouldn't be having a problem if you basted. Oh, goodness. I think I've accidentally sewn something I didn't need to. Let me see. I did. I caught that other thread in it. Fiddly bits. You could almost sew doll clothes by hand. You know what it was? I think I did wrong. I'll show you. I think I should be sewing on the inside part of it, not the outside, and it would go so much smoother. Let's see. I took the pins out and changed directions on the other side of it. That's exactly what it was. It's just very fiddly. Fiddle, fiddle, fiddle. That's what it is. Make you drag, pull your hair out. Hopefully that'll do. That'll do, donkey. All right. I'll tell you where I went wrong. All right, when you put your pins in on that crotch area, you need to put them in on the inside part, so like this. So you sew down, and then you have to fiddle with it to go across, and then you come back out this way. That's where I messed up. So you're not sewing on the outside part of it. You sew on the inside curve. And now before you turn it right side out, do some snitches. Snitches? Stitches. Not stitches. Snips. Holy macaroni. I think I've been on too long is the problem. But I wanted to give you guys a way to make your clothes this week. Everybody gets so excited about it and they want to go ahead. So I'm trying to rush myself. Next time I won't rush. Next time I'll do some things ahead. All right. So now turn them right side out and you'll have your pants. And then you'll just need to put either some elastic in the top, or you can put a ribbon through and use it as a tie. All right, ready? Pull one leg out through the other. It's like magic. Just pull them out, pull them out. And you have pants. See? You have pants. Here's the doll. She doesn't really have a front nor a back. So I will probably put elastic in my dolls. I'll do a casing at the top, fold it down on the inside. There we go. If you don't do the little clips in the curve, it won't lay right like you want. But there's a pair of shorts. See? See, that's coming undone, but it'll only go so far. So those fit pretty good. She just needs some elastic or something in the pants. And I think that the dress you guys could probably figure out, but yeah, I think if I put that casing in here, put a little casing in it, that'll fold down, and I'll stitch around it, and then I'll just feed a little elastic in there. She'll have some little elastic bloomers, and then I want to make her a dress, but I want to go shop my under the bed thing. So, Anne, I think you can do those. I think you can manage that with your little sewing machine. And I'm just going to keep working on her. And hopefully next week I'll just show up with a finished doll. And the dress is pretty easy to do. You're just going to need to make, once you draw your front and back piece, just on the back piece, just do a cut down and then just do a stitch around that opening so it doesn't ravel or whatever. And then you can put a snap, a button, a tie at the back here. So it'll be open. So you should be able to, I think that'd give you enough room to pull it up and get her arms in it and get it up over her shoulders. It might fit better just going over her head on my doll because she's very broad in the shoulders. I think she's a coal miner in her past life or something. So yeah. And you would just, this is going to be on the fold. So for the back, you cut that and then you just sew from just under the arm down, hem it. If you want to do a neck binding, you can use a little ribbon or just fold it over. Do a row of stitching at 1/4 inch and then snip to it. And then you can just fold this in and hand stitch it. The same with the sleeve opening, because this will be left opening. You'll stitch the shoulder seams front to back, and then you'll stitch front to back just below the arm to the bottom and hem it. Then you'll want to finish your edges in some way there and there. I could just take the pieces and run them through my serger, and she'd have the same fancy schmancy thread around her neckline and her armhole that I could do before I start putting it together. So you all have homework now, okay? Does that sound like something you guys can follow along? I hope I haven't completely confused you. I need this little note to tell me how long to cut my ruffle piece for my little dress. I might just get some, I won't even cut a ruffle. I might just get and use 21 1/4 inches of lace or something. I don't know. I've got so much lace, I ought to use it. All right, guys, it's after 2 o'clock. My voice is about to go. If you have any questions or you run into a pickle of any sort, shoot me a private message or leave a comment below this video. I'll do my best to answer them. And I hope it's going to be all right. If you are making a doll, I would love it if you would send me a picture of her finished so I can do her in the roundup. Yeah, I want to do a doll, kind of like a doll fashion show roundup where I just put it like a pictorial. All right. You all be safe, and I will see you next Wednesday, and we'll start something else. I'm hoping we can just do like a doll share next week. All right. Bye, guys.